Succulent chunks of melt-in-your-mouth beef nestled amidst a medley of vibrant vegetables and bathed in a rich, savory broth.
Let's unravel the secrets to my delicious ultimate beef stew. I'm Rose Oatley. Let's get cooking.
To begin, we'll start with the star of the show, beef. I like using chuck roast. This one comes already cut into chunks. Sometimes the pieces are just too massive, so I chop them down to manageable mouthfuls. Once rinsed, pat them dry to remove any moisture, then set them aside. Next, we want to chop and dice half of a large onion and mince 4 garlic cloves. I'm also going to cut about 7 celery sticks into bite-sized pieces.
Now for our next veggie, we're going to be using potatoes. And I like to use these little golden potatoes.
I usually chop them in half or quarters, but watch out. Sometimes nature plays a trick with these tubers. Take a gander at this potato. It's shaped like sagging boobies. No worries though. A quick slice or two transforms them into perfectly stew-worthy chunks. Next, rinse and drain in the sink. To a hot pan, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and crank the heat to maximum. We're looking for scorching hot temps here, people, around 360 to 370 degrees if my trusty heat gun is correct. We're ready to add the beef. We'll do it in batches so the pieces have room to properly sear, so make sure you don't overcrowd them. You want to season each batch with salt and pepper. Cooking them 3 minutes per side should do the trick, so don't be peeking or they won't get crispy. And boom, look at this gorgeous crust. That's if you can see it. After this, you want to transfer them to a plate to rest while we tackle the next batch. My last batch is done. We're just going to set it aside for now. To the same pan, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now it's the onions' turn to shine. We're going to add our onions in. We're going to be caramelizing these. You want to saute these silky slices until lightly caramelized. And trust me, you'll be drooling over the sweet aroma. I turn the heat down to about number 3 to avoid burning. Now for a splash of flavor, minced garlic goes in next to perfume your pan. You want to saute until nice and fragrant. It's time for the wine. I chose a dry cabernet sauvignon, but any robust red will do. We're going to add half a cup. Give it a swirl to deglaze that brown goodness stuck to the pan. I grabbed this one from Walmart. You don't need anything expensive. This one was $6. You can also go with a Pinot Noir. The wine is reducing nicely now, giving up its flavor essence. Once it's decreased by half, I'll give it a sprinkling of salt and pepper and some fresh herbs. We'll start with 2 teaspoons of thyme, 2 teaspoons of rosemary, and 1 teaspoon of basil. I prefer using fresh, so if you have fresh, I recommend it. Give it all a good mix to distribute all those woodsy tones. To help thicken the beef stew, we'll add 1/4 cup of flour. A quick stir and it'll disappear into the liquid. To the other side of the pan, we'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to lightly brown our potatoes. You want to add your potatoes, then add a sprinkle of salt and pepper to get them ready for their stew debut. Once the potatoes are just starting to color, it's time to reunite everything in the pot. We'll bring our beef back in and give it a good mix. Add a 6-ounce can of tomato paste for a robust flavor, or half can if you prefer a more subtle tang. We'll add a 32-ounce container of beef broth to bring it all together. Also, I'll supplement with a splash of water too, since 1 container rarely seems enough. I do recommend that you use at least 1 container of beef broth instead of all water, because it does give it a much better flavor. All right, folks, time to tame the heat a bit and introduce our trusty sidekick, celery. Again, this was 7 sticks of celery. Now brace yourselves for the arrival of the frozen crinkle cut carrots. It's a 16-ounce bag of pure orange delight. Now, if you're feeling fancy, go for the petite fresh ones. They're like the supermodels of carrots. Looks like we got to quench our stew's thirst with a little more water. Enough to create a cozy hot tub for all the ingredients to simmer in. Let's go ahead and crank the heat up. We want our stew to come close to a boiling. Let it bubble and dance like no one's watching. Once those bubbles start their performance, you want to go ahead and cover it up. Bring your heat down to low. You want to cook for 1.5 to 2.5 hours. I'm going to be doing 1.5 today, but the longer you cook it, the more tender your beef will be.
While my beef stew is cooking, we're going to be working on our potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these up.
By the way, this is for my mashed potatoes. I'm going to be cutting these into thirds, and I'm going to put them in a pot of water and then just set them on my stove until I'm ready to cook them. I usually start cooking them when I have about 45 minutes left on my beef stew. Then once they're done, we're going to add a splash of milk and a stick of unsalted butter. Then season with salt and pepper, mash them up, and you've got pure delight. It's been 1.5 hours, so gather around, my fellow friends and stew enthusiasts, and let the flavors mingle and the aromas serenade your senses. This stew is about to take you on a taste adventure you won't forget.
Wow.
Let's go play. I like to serve mine with a bed of mashed potatoes on the bottom and then pour the beef stew on top. Then you can top it off with a little bit of parsley. And by the way, you don't have to serve it with mashed potatoes. If you like it without, that's perfectly fine. I just love mashed potatoes with it. Now, how delicious does this look? Is your mouth watering yet?
All right, it's time to give this a try.
Oh my gosh, I can see the meat is already so tender. Oh my gosh, so good. I love it. My dogs are begging for some. You're not getting any. Sorry, honey. And that's her real name, Honey. So good. I hope you guys give it a try. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and comment.
If you haven't already subscribed, please be sure to do so below or hit my little picture on the side. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified of all of my new videos. And please be sure to check out these links on the side. Share with your friends. Thanks for watching and your support.